Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monday, May 25th, 2020. DJ First Amendment coming to you with Jolie Moyer live from the Sensible Movement Coalition and Normal Appalachia. Today, we're going to talk about no fine, no jail time, decriminalizing cannabis up to 200 grams. Julie, if you could give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Hi. Thanks for having me here today. I am currently on the board of directors for Sensible Movement Coalition and Normal Appalachia of Ohio. We have been working for several years on sensible decrim in the state of Ohio and several other states, and with much success. So I'm excited to be here today and let you know what's going on now.
Awesome. And Julie, can you tell us what is no fines, no jail time, sensible mean?
Sensible decrim. Yeah, well, sensible decrim is different from traditional decriminalization in that typically when you talk about decriminalization, such as the state of Ohio, which was decriminalized in 1975, it was what we refer to as a partial decrim. So it reduced the penalty to some extent, but there was still penalty involved, even for small amounts of cannabis. So misdemeanor offenses could come with the potential of fines or jail time and real lasting consequences that went well beyond the sentence and followed people throughout life. And so we found that that just simply wasn't effective. Traditional decrim wasn't enough.
So, what's the approach now for the listeners that is being taken by the Sensible Movement Coalition and Normal Appalachia?
Well, in 2015, the first city in Ohio passed what we call sensible decrim. And what sensible decrim does is it reduces the penalty to the fullest extent allowed by law. So in the state of Ohio, it means that we can reduce the fine to $0. There's actually no fine. There's no potential for jail time under sensible decrim, and there's no court cost. So it really just pushes non-enforcement because they don't get anything out of it. It's not productive to prosecute small amounts, misdemeanor amounts. And in the cities where that's passed, it's been very effective.
Can you give us an example of a couple of the cities where these initiatives have had the collection of the signatures taken place and then been voted in and taken effect?
Well, the first city that passed was Toledo in 2015. And that was really groundbreaking to see that it worked and it worked so well. They actually said at the time, I believe it was the chief of police at the time, said that it was the best thing that happened for Toledo for race relations between the police and the community in his term of office. So that was great to hear. And that's why I say it's so effective. They stopped prosecuting misdemeanor amounts in Toledo, and it doesn't affect trafficking. It doesn't affect felony amounts. It affects personal amounts only, but it protects all citizen from harm, you know, and the harm was substantial. People lost scholarships. There was a potential to lose housing, lose custody of children. There are many, many, consequences of criminalizing cannabis.
So, when you speak of criminalizing cannabis and the users, have you yourself been a victim of the war on drugs?
I haven't faced any criminal problems, but I know a lot of people have. My personal my personal experience with this is that I'm a patient, and as a patient, I went a very long time before I was able to get a medical marijuana card, and during that time, I still needed the medicine. I'm a cancer patient. I have two types of cancer. One is incurable, and prior to cannabis, I was taking a literal backpack full of pills, and it was killing me. So I'm down to one pill a day now. Everything else is cannabis, but I didn't like going around and going to our state house and having to tell the senators and the House representatives, I'm here, I'm a criminal, I'm a patient, I don't have a medical card. What are you going to do to protect people like me? And they weren't doing anything. They had no answers for that.
Have you been able
They
to
had
get your medical
sympathy, but
card?
sympathy wouldn't help me from prosecution if I was in trouble.
Have you since then been able to obtain your medical card?
I have been able to obtain it, so that's been great. But there are still some problems in the state of Ohio with their program. So hopefully changes will come, but in the meantime, they're really not doing justice to the patients in the state.
When you say that there's problems with the medical system in Ohio, are you referring to the quality of product and pricing and availability?
I am to some extent. There are just so many problems across the board. There are problems with the quality. It's inconsistent. The pricing I think has gotten better to some extent. Um, but it's still a problem. They're selling in Ohio tenths, you know, or whatever. It's just the whole thing is crazy. They've made some changes. Um, they need to make more changes. They've shot down autism as a qualifying condition twice. That there's no justification for that in my opinion. And actually, Representative Juanita Brent recently came forward with two bills. One of them is to add autism as a qualifying condition, and another one is to decriminalize cannabis. So,
Now, I've heard of a lot of measurements of cannabis, everything from like eighths and quarters and ounces, and but I've never heard of an Ohio tenth or Ohio. Can you elaborate more on what that is?
I'm not real sure. I don't know how many people really understand why they do it that way. I don't know of any other place in the country that does it that way. Do you? I think it's pretty consistent.
How much
Um,
do you get in Ohio? What is it called again?
I honestly, I'm not really sure because I went so long not being able to afford Ohio medicine that it's just I don't even know what it is. It's inconsistent that I can go buy my medicine there. So
So no fine, no jail time. If I'm in a city and there's no fine, no jail time, and I have a couple grams on me, 4 or 5 or whatever, up to the 200, and I'm pulled over by an officer, and what typically is going to happen in a no fine, no jail time decriminalized city?
if you are pulled over, I would assume that you're speaking of just being in possession and not under the influence.
Absolutely, yes. Like hypothetically speaking, it's in the backpack, and
Well, I would assume
I live
as long as
there.
we're not talking about under the influence, which of course would fall under felony charges. If you were in simple possession, what would happen is if you were under the amount, under 200 grams, uh, even in possession of maybe a pipe or paper, some type of paraphernalia, they would let you go.
As long as it's
There would
cannabis
not be
related, right?
right. There would not generally be a citation. They may or may not take your cannabis. Um,
But you're
in
not
some
going to go to
places they
jail.
do, and in some places they don't. I think that's probably depending on the officer and how they feel. But no, you don't go to jail. I have heard reports about them just letting the person take it, and said, "Oh, is that all you have?" And once they verify that, they say, "Have a nice day."
I mean, I think we can agree that no one should go to jail over an organic plant,
Absolutely,
especially if it helps you with your cancers.
it helps me with a lot of different things. I have cancer, but I have other medical issues as well, and it helps with everything. All my symptoms are helped with that. And when I say I was on a backpack of pills, that's what I mean. They thought I was going to have a stroke. I was on 2 different blood pressure prescriptions that still couldn't control my blood pressure. And it and my heart rate, they were through the roof.
And cannabis replaced those medicines?
Absolutely. It replaced it completely. My blood pressure's perfect now.
And
And I don't take any medicine for it except cannabis.
you've been a believer ever since then. Now you're on a crusade to help decriminalize the plant so that other people will have access to it and its life-changing
I just
abilities.
think that people are going to decide for themselves whether they want a more natural means of medication or even recreation for that matter. Because this doesn't simply protect patients, it protects, like I said, everybody. Um, and it's a local ballot initiative. So each city can decide for themselves through their election whether they want this passed or not. So what we're doing is collecting signatures, and that's what we have done on most of our ballot initiatives. Uh we'd go in the cities, we'd educate the local citizen that was interested in doing it. Whoever had contact us, we'd teach them the process. And actually, one of our directors, Chad Thompson, will write an initiative for them. And
Sorry, so
sometimes we assist on the ground and we'd go to the city and we'd help actually work the initiative and get the signatures to put it on the ballot and let the local people vote.
so running through the process, someone from a local city will reach out to the Sensible Movement Coalition and say, "Hey, I live in this city. I'm interested in helping run a petition and collect signatures." And then Chad would write them an initiative to collect signatures with, and if possible, even send people to help collect signatures.
Absolutely. We help in whatever way we can. Obviously, we can't be in every city. Um, but we do as much as we can. We try to assist and teach how to get the local people involved. And it really just takes a small number of people to make a big difference.
Okay, so no fines, no jail time, under 200 grams means no misdemeanors, no loss of license, no criminal record for possession that could keep you from getting a loan or student financing and things like
Right.
that. So that's really great. It sounds really positive. And if people want to learn more information, how can they reach out to the Sensible Movement Coalition?
They could contact us through our Facebook page, and we'll have somebody get back with you just as soon as possible. We are going to have more information coming out soon. We were just granted the ability to get electronic signatures. So this year's petitions will be assisted through that process. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, we're not going to be able to do uh, the signature gathering in the way we usually do. So look for more news coming soon on the process and how people can sign in their own community.
Okay, so wow. So that's a step further. So a person now, potentially due to COVID-19, could reach out to the Sensible Movement Coalition and say, I want to collect signatures for my community. And they could be written an initiative possibly that could be emailed and then verified, just like somebody who verifies like an insurance form or something like that through their emails. And that would count as their signature, to which then they could also go and vote.
Right. We're not sure exactly which process we're going to use at this time. We are working with the state to find an acceptable method to get legal, valid signatures that would work for us and it would work for them, and it would be easy for the citizens to utilize. So we're going to have that. Like I said, we're working on it. Very, very soon, within days, we'll have the answer on that. And you'll be able to, just like you said, contact us. If we don't already have an initiative written for your city, we could look into it. We can check and see if it can be done where you live. In most places in Ohio, it can be done, not exactly everywhere. Um, but we'd be happy to assist citizens that are interested in this process.
And we've helped people in other states as well, too, with the Sensible Movement Coalition, correct? Can you
Correct.
share that?
We have. We've been working in several places in West Virginia. We have several places in South Carolina with the assistance of Low Country Normal. We are working currently in Kansas City, Missouri. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see more cities popping up all the time and more people hearing about sensible decrim because it really does make a difference. We have found that the partial decriminalization that I talked about a little bit ago actually can do more harm in places that have only reduced uh, the fine and not removed it like we did. Many places have reduced it to $100 or $50 or $25. And we found that it's not working. They're still arresting people, they're still hassling people, there's still harm being done, and sometimes at a higher rate than it was before.
So it's
So,
really important to knock it down to just zero fine, zero jail time, zero interest, and let the officers focus on crimes with victims and like traffic and other things like that, and like the bad guys, right?
they just need to focus. There's a lot of violent crime going on in a lot of places. There's still a problem with overdoses that hasn't gone away, and it's something that hasn't really been talked about a lot. There's still problems with racial disparity in arrest, racism. It's not gone away. As a matter of fact, a lot of places um, are starting to realize an issue. Actual, I don't know if it's a state of emergency or a public health crisis. Maybe it's a public health crisis, but they are starting to realize and recognize, and I think that's good. But there's a long way to go. And this is something that can be done right away. There's a huge racial disparity in the black community. That's they're being pulled over at a much higher rate. They're being arrested at a much higher rate. The prisons are full of people that don't need to be there on charges that are nothing more than a drug offense. There's no violence. There's no harm done.
What are your thoughts? And I want to thank you for sharing that information because it's all very valuable. And if people want to reach out, make sure to go to Facebook for Sensible Movement Coalition and shoot them a message, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible with that. But what do you think about Michigan? How they went from medical program to fully legalization, 21 and up. Do you support that kind of model? And do you know much about it?
I know a little bit about it. I do support it. I think it's great. Legalization anywhere is good, but it has to be done in a reasonable manner. I think Michigan, to my knowledge, seems to have done a pretty good job of it. I know that there were some initiatives and there was some talk of people that were working, multiple different groups in Ohio that were working last year towards statewide legalization. But at this time, I don't believe that there's any activity on that front. So
Do you think Ohio will ever go full recreational like Michigan did and allow people to grow 12 plants and have recreational just like alcohol and follow the Michigan model?
well, I think Ohio needs to definitely pursue legalization, whether it's through a reasonable initiative or whether it's through the statewide legislation process. I think I don't hold a lot of hope with our medical program the way it is right now. I hope that things would be done the right way. I think 12 plants, I think no less than 12 plants is what's needed. People need home grow. Patients desperately need it.
This medicine, I know a lot of people, uh, it helps in a lot of different ways. And I've met a lot of patients over these last couple of years, and I really appreciate you sharing that part of your story and allowing people to know those things aside from how to decriminalize and be a part of that. I think there's going to be a really good outreach, and if this is a win, we'll definitely have to do another session and go over that and update everybody. Is there anything else that you want to add to before we rock out?
Well, I would urge everybody to check Facebook, check out Sensible Movement Coalition, check out their own city, because there may be a Facebook page set up and you might not even know it. Many cities in Ohio already have Facebook pages active. So if you are interested, look for us, contact us. We'll be happy to chat with you. We look forward to helping the citizens of Ohio decriminalize cannabis in their community this year.
Awesome. And thank you again so much, Jolie. You are an amazing person, and working on holidays, day and night, putting in the hours to do this is very selfless of you. And on behalf of everyone and myself especially, I just want to tell you thank you.
Thank you.
My
Pleasure.
Well, guys, we're going to rock this out. And for more information, definitely get in contact and shoot a message. Going to play a wonderful little tune by the River Rages. It's called River Rages by the Bandura Gypsies. Bandura Gypsies is a great little two-piece band. I hope you check out the music and look forward to the next session. Hopefully we have some more information on this. And be on the lookout. Rumor has it that you're going to be able to email in your petition to get things on your local ballot to fight for your rights, because your rights are infringed. You don't have the ability to go door to door or person to person. We have an order to stay 6 feet away in social distance for the safety of ourselves and for safety of others. So in order for us to responsibly do that, we still have to make ends meet, and it just makes sense to be able to do electronic signatures. So I hope to have more information with you on that for next time, guys. And until then, tune in, rock out, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you.
I know.
Contemplating, rearranging. I like the way I take it. I know how to make it. So the river raging. Of resistance. I like the way I take it. I know how to make it. So the river rages. The river rages. Holding out. Only step out looks from all. Rage on, wild river to the core. The river rages. Got a place to go. Bring the rock and the hot place. Oh, rage on, wild river to the core. Till the core. Suffocating, deflating. I like the way I take it. I know who else can make it. So the river rages. Injured and mistaken. I like the way I take it. I know who else can make it. So the river rages. River rages. Holding out. Only stay up looks from all. Rage on, wild river to the core. The river rages. Got a place to go. Bring the rock and the hard place. Oh, rage on, wild river to the core. out. The water's rising more. I'm predicting